In the Impact segment tonight, a group of Muslim advocacy organizations claim there has been so much anti-Muslim backlash after the terror attacks in San Bernardino and Paris that they're launching a voter registration drive and a bus tour to educate Americans. The group held a news conference yesterday also suggesting it's time to step up their efforts to keep young Muslims from joining ISIS.
We are very clear from this effort that we have to do a better job of reaching out to our young people from the pulpits of the mosques in America and teaching them how they can avoid the seductive approaches that are found on the internet from groups like ISIS and others.
Wonder what took so long. Joining us now from Detroit, Osama Siblani, the publisher of the Arab American News, and from Phoenix, Dr. Jasser, the president of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy. Mr. Siblani, let's start with you. Here we are, December 22nd. It took a long time for these imams, Imam Johari and others, to finally say, hey, time for moderate Muslims to speak up and address the youth.
Well, they have been speaking. Now you're listening to them, but they've been speaking for a long time. I have heard them a long time ago. This is a very good thing that they're doing, and it's better late than ever to register people, to get them involved in the American political process. That is the American way.
I don't know, Mr. Siblani, we spend a lot of time watching these things, and this seems like the first outreach, at least the first public outreach. And by the way, can I just address something? They said they want to talk about talking to youth about not being radicalized by ISIS. How about condemning some of the things that are going on around the world? I didn't hear a lot of that.
Well, I have heard them condemn this over and over again, and I tell you, yesterday we had a press conference here in Detroit, and the media were there, and we condemned it in the strongest terms. The Muslim American community have been going in every day condemning these terrorist attacks against, innocent people. You have to remember one thing, that we are the first victim of this. Most of the victims of ISIS are Muslims, are Arabs.
Well, I don't know. San Bernardino, I'm not sure,
thousands,
Mr. Siblani, I'm not sure San Bernardino, I don't know who was Muslim and who wasn't in that attack. I'm mostly concerned about homegrown.
I'm not talking about,
Let me bring Dr.
I'm not talking about the California attack.
Dr. C, is this enough, and is it a little late?
Yeah, Eric, when you said what took so long, I'm trying to figure out what was positive about this development. I mean, these groups came together in a very Islamist way, and they spoke as one voice. It's almost like alcoholics getting together and saying they're going to help America get rid of drunk driving. I mean, they didn't address the ideology. They continue to only address the means, which is terrorism. They're not addressing the ideology. We had a reform movement that formed in a summit at the same National Press Club 3 weeks ago. We didn't condemn the terrorism. What we said was we condemned the ideology. We made a declaration that we're against jihad, violent jihad. We're against the caliphate. We're for the equality of men and women. We owned up to the fact that our faith has core ideas that need reform, and we as Muslims want to own it. I saw none of that ownership, and in fact, Eric, the intoxicant of collective Islamism is exactly what these groups embodied, and they're going to continue to radicalize our faith community youth.
To Osama Siblani, some of the numbers, the most recent polls that we found, Pew poll and Gallup poll, have shown that somewhere around 8% of Muslim Americans say suicide bombings are often or sometimes justified. Now, I do math, and that number comes 3 million people or so, 8%. You're talking about 240,000 Muslim Americans who think it's okay for a suicide bomb, at least sometimes.
Well, first of all, I have to say that we have to hire your other guest to reform Islam. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, Islam, there's 1.5 billion people believe in this religion. I am one of them, and I am very proud to be a Muslim American. Now, to answer your question, I don't know what kind of a question was asked in the poll, so I cannot answer exactly your answer. It makes sense out of it.
Both Pew and Gallup polled Muslim Americans, and the numbers were fairly similar. And that was, I cited the Pew poll. There's a Gallup poll, sir, that has 11% said attacks on civilians are sometimes justified. Now, 11% of 300 million.
Let me give you another poll. Let me give you another poll. Can I help you giving you another poll? There is another poll that 30% of Republicans wants to go out and fight Aladdin.
Listen, your deflections are
it really
complete
depends on what kind
nonsense.
of a question. It's a Disneyland. It's a movie. And
Do you take
50%
American? I mean,
believe that
listen,
this is the
Osama,
reality.
you take Americans for fools. I'm not talking about reforming Islam. We're talking about Muslims who need reform. The ideas for ISIS are coming out of regimes like Saudi Arabia, Iran, Hamas, Hezbollah. Your own publication. Listen, Osama, your own publication could not get itself to condemn Hamas and Hezbollah. So for you to tell the American public that we don't need reform, are you kidding? Americans are not fools. You need to wake up and look at the organizations in government that are speaking on behalf of Muslims around the world and own up to the fact that they are radicalizing our youth from corner to corner of the planet in the tune of hundreds of millions that you continue to blame America
Are you going
about.
to give me... This is all propaganda. You know, what you need to do is you really need to know about Islam. Well, your ignorance is not an excuse because you don't know Islam.
That's your
Islam
answer,
is
ignorance?
not like
Please elaborate. Please elaborate about the substance of what I'm talking about. Rather, you are deflecting and showing a dishonesty as far as the reforms we have to have.
Dr. Z, go ahead.
Well, the substance is that radicalization is on equal footing among all the religions and ideologies. Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. There are people that be radicalized. The people
you're
let me finish. Would you please let me finish?
Please do.
Would you let me finish? Would you let me finish?
Do it.
The person who went on shooting rampage in Colorado, killing and injuring 4 people in a Planned Parenthood clinic, was not a Muslim.
That's the equivalent of the Iranian theocracy.
He was motivated by Fox News.
Mr. Sublani,
he was motivated by those right-wing people who goes on Fox News
this is the typical response.
You're on Fox News.
I got to go, gentlemen. This is what always happens. You bring a CARE representative on, and they do the same thing. Yeah, but what about those other mass shootings? Stop. I got to go, gentlemen. Thank you very much. We're going to have to leave it right there.